Good morning and welcome. This is Dr. Dossett, the producer and founder of the original OGs movement and the Overseas Game Changers talk show. The purpose of this talk show really is to bring education, awareness, and inspiration to the issues surrounding diversity, inclusion, and excellence on foreign soil. Each week, I bring to you and I help you expand your optics and the paradigm of what it means to live unapologetically Black in China. My guest today, Shanika Nico, is one of the premier speakers and griots and motivational speakers across China. So, though she lives in Hangzhou, it's next to the capital city, tier one city of Shanghai, she avails herself to travel for various events which celebrate arts and culture. Without further ado, we're here to discuss the personal journey of self discovery and mastery on behalf of my special guest today, Chanika Nico. Welcome to the OG show, and thank you for taking your time out on this Friday morning.
Thank you so
Chanika,
much for having me. Thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome, my pleasure. So, we're going to go right into a discovery of questions just to kind of get a sense of who you are. Tell us a little bit about where you're from, and number two, what prompted your move to consider life as an expat in China?
Thank you so much for asking that. So I am from the Windy City, city of Chicago, in America. Yes. So I'm from there. And what prompted me to come to China? Yes, Hangzhou. Well, love Chicago, and I'm loving China as well. And I have a really good friend. I have a really good friend who introduced the idea to come to China. And so we were roommates in Chicago, and she was like, "You should come to China." And thank you so much, Tina, for just that's her name, for continuously asking me for 3 years. And so she is a home local in Beijing, and she kept asking me. And so finally, all the stars and everything just lined up, and I said, "Okay, I'm coming." And I made my way to create that possibility. And I came here in 2016. And I didn't know I would be here 5 years later here. And it has been such a great journey, living my best life.
And that's wonderful. One of the things that I have learned in this life that the patterns of life actually create the tapestry of our life. With that particular context, within that context, I would like you to understand, help us to understand, has public speaking and orator and writing poetry something that you discovered was part of your, I would say, divine destiny or assignment early on in life? Or did you fall into it? Could you help share your insight as it relates to that question?
Yes. Well, falling into it wasn't my destiny. I guess both of them together. Couldn't connect the dots going forward, but most definitely going backwards. And
Absolutely, absolutely.
yes, yes. So, wow. This was divine purpose for sure. I started writing poetry when I was in high school, and I just wanted to just express myself. It was just get my thoughts out, just get my thoughts out to myself. And as time progressed by, I start performing, in high school, and then time progressed by some more, writing a lot, and then had a lot of material, and then start performing in Chicago. Chicago has a lot of performers, as far
Yeah.
as poets
Hmm.
and writers and stage performers, and yeah, and I am a natural speaker as well. And then here we are in China. Opportunities presented itself, and so I started bringing in some of the things that I really love about myself, and that it was poetry and writing and expressing, and also inspiring people and speaking. And people saw that about me as well, and so started getting opportunities here, despite the language barrier.
Yeah, well, I find that the language barrier is really not an issue because you
No.
have already a captive audience. One of the things I found fascinating during my tenure in China from 2011 to 2020, there were numerous opportunities for me to present and utilize my craft as an inspirational motivational speaker, lecturer, teacher, because people love the cadence of my voice, and you have a very similar cadence, and which is appealing and attractive because
Mhm.
Chinese students and second language learners feel that speaking English you must speak a certain way or have a certain sound or effect on your voice. But I'm noticing that when you speak, you can obviously tell that you're speaking through your heart, as well as I say, you write through your heart. I heard an expression once which said, writing is very similar as your fingertips coming through your heart, your heart
Mhm.
coming through your fingertips. And it's true. So I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about your audience. I know that you speak to a diverse group, and then you
Yeah.
also have a large constituency of non-native English speakers. And so, have you spoken at events where to a predominantly Chinese audience? And if so, what did you do to make your message more understandable for the listener?
Thank you. That's a great question. So, yes, I have had a chance to speak in front of an audience, predominantly or only Chinese speakers. One, I've had the opportunity for people to translate my poetry or my speaking as well. And also, I have realized some words need to be translated in English before they can even be translated in Chinese, meaning that there you may have some idioms or some different saying or some different phrases. So that way the person who is translating, they can understand exactly what they're translating. I may change some of the verbiage, but not the meaning. So I have one poem, for instance, and I might be able to share it later on today, but one poem that I have is called Breaking Through to You. And when I was sharing with my Chinese audience, I changed the title of it, but it did not change the meaning of it. So Breaking Through to You, that's the original title, but when I am speaking to the Chinese audience, it is what is it? Instead of breaking through to you, listening to your voice, something
Ah,
like that.
okay, right,
So it's still meaning the same thing, but if I'm saying breaking through, it's like, and the person's trying to translate, it sounds like something is broken. You're trying to go through
right.
something yourself. So sometimes, again, really simple. I will just change some of the verbiage before someone, and I'm just aware of that, really cognitive about that, before someone translates.
And that's
Yes.
important because one of the challenges that I found that English to Chinese is not precise. And if you're not careful, you need to be extremely sensitive and cognizant of the fact that the way one interprets language in China, certain words, is not going to be the same. And you have to be careful not to misconstrue your message. And so that requires a different level of skill. So, in addition to being a speaker and a writer and an author, and also a linguist of sorts, what other what other gifts are you lending your voice to in terms of whether programs or processes or initiatives? Can you speak to that as well?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for asking. So, also, as far as my gifts that I'm lending my voice to, that would be education. So we talked a little bit about that here and
Mhm.
there. And so I am a English teacher here in China, and I have taught from little children from 3 years old up
Wow.
to, yes, yes, that was my youngest, to 3 years old to but in middle school. So that would be maybe 16, 17-year olds. So all the way across, and I guess some adults as well too. But in the school setting, I've done that, and also hosting. So I've done various hosting. We just had an event in Shanghai, hosting the Juneteenth celebration, and then I hosted as well the New Year's Eve fashion show event as well. And yeah, so whether it's hosting, inspirational speaking, doing workshops as well too. So I did a workshop and speaking event with the Toastmasters, and Toastmasters is an international organization
That's it.
about
Mhm.
development. you're speaking and things. And so I did that. It was called Stepping into Your Greatness. So I let people experience, of course, the speaking, but most importantly, I want them to be able to come away from it, being able to like the tools. How do I step into my greatness? What does that look like? I didn't even know I was even great. What is that? I have purpose, and how do I get there, and how do I stay there? And lastly, also I'm lending my voice, if you want to say, or just lending my gifts in dance, inspirational.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think a life with purpose is actually the most fulfilling life. And I'm glad to see that you are expanding your territories, expanding your reach. With that being said, you mentioned that you have a particular work, poetry, a poem that you'd like to share with our audience. Please take the opportunity now to tell us two things. Not only just to express yourself through your voice through this particular medium, but also what inspired this particular work, body of work.
Hmm. Well, breaking through to you. Um, Breaking Through to You is a really special poem to me because at one time, I know it's not only for myself, but many of us have gone through life, whether we're older or younger, whatever that might be. Sometimes life gets into our heart and our spirit, our mind, and we lose our voice, not necessarily physically, but mentally. And then we just we may make ourselves smaller, and we don't show ourselves, our greatness. And so we may say, "Oh, I won't raise my hand for that test," or "I won't speak up for, in this interview," or "I won't say this, with my friends," or whoever that might be. And next thing you know, year after year, you have not shown yourself, like, "Oh, I'll put this project off. Oh, I'll wait till next year for me to, create this business." And next thing you know, your voice is gone, and you're looking around and you're like, "Where am I?" And not only the voice, your energy, and everything about yourself, you begin to look around like, "Wow, this is not the person that I remember or I think I can be." So Breaking Through to You is really special to my heart, and I found my voice because I went through a personal development. I'm always not only inspiring other people, also taking that advice for myself and going through personal development organizations or groups and things like that. And so, in the process of going through one of those years ago, the leader in our group noticed that when I decided to just share a poem, he was like, "You completely changed during this whole process. Like, I want you to share a poem every single time. And at the end of this process, I want you to share in front of the big group." I do want to say at this point, when I do want to say at this point when I was doing that poetry and sharing that, I had already shared in front of a large audience, like the Black Women's Expo, which has thousands of people there. And even with that under my belt for there are the foundation, I still had lost my voice, if you want to say yes.
I just want to say, pause for a second, just as a bit of a caveat for the listeners. We are
Yes.
experiencing some technical difficulty right now. I'm not sure if it's on from the Western end or from in China. So I do apologize for our viewers. It was not intended. But without further ado, we're going to listen to the eloquent speech, poem being said by our author and present MC, resident MC, Chanika Nico. Please go into it. This will be the last part of our segment, so I want to make sure that we catch this part in.
Yes. Breaking Through to You. Don't you know? Don't you know you are powerful and gifted beyond measure? Don't you know? Don't you know you are powerful and gifted beyond measure? Extraordinarily talented. For see, you were born for a purpose, and you are not a mistake. And you have a team rooting for you. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. And your ancestors are cheering for you. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. And the universe, and the universe is cheering for you. La-la-la-la-la-la-loo! La-la-la-la-loo! And there is nothing for you to prove, only for you to believe, for you have already arrived. But see, you can achieve whatever your heart desires, whatever your dreams are, with other great leaders. For that means that you are a great leader yourself. Who, me? Yes, you. For that means that you are a great leader yourself. And you can achieve whatever your heart desires boldly, effectively, and strategically. And all you have to do is break through and live your life today. Thank you.
That was powerful and it was awesome. So, something I want to say, I usually like to give a quick reflection of how that makes me feel. Um, when I listened to this particular piece, this body of work that you presented, the greatest gift and takeaway I want to share with my viewers is that your breakthrough comes when you no longer feel the need to prove yourself. That is the greatest freedom in the world, when you no longer feel the need to improve yourself. And in my work, working with helping women unmute their voices, as you heard today, the greatest gift is you. With that being said, we're at now the closing of this segment. I want to thank you so much for taking the time and the patience and also having the foresight to bring light to this world. And I know you didn't mention it before, but your nickname per se is Sunshine. And
Yes, you're right. You remember. Yes. A lot
today
of people, you're
on this
right.
morning, on this Friday morning, she has brought the sunshine into our lives one more time. Thank you again for your time and your energy and sharing your gifts with us. That is our segment today. Once again, Chanika, thank you. This is Dr. Sherrod Dossett, the original OG, Overseas Game Changer, where our show features men and women who are finding purpose on foreign soil while changing the paradigm and the optics around issues related to diversity, excellence, and inclusion. Thank you again. We'll see you next week, the same time at 6 a.m., channel 16.5 WYGA Atlanta on Preach the Word Network. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.